Hello and welcome to Create at Robin's House with Robin's Cricut Capers. I'm going to show you a couple quick things of examples of ways to use welding and slicing because I love them. So I'm going to add a shape, just a square shape, and I'm going to duplicate it so I have two. So what I want to do is I want to make a frame for my greeting card, or I suppose my layout as well. So because it's I'm going to do one for my card. I want my width to be 4.25, and I want my height to be 5.5. And then because this will be easier if I can see what I'm doing, I've got it about at 2 inches over and 2 inches down. But as you can see in the position, one is at 2 inches, but this one isn't quite at 2 inches. So now it is. Now my inner frame, I want to have my inner frame a 1/2 inch in on each side. So I know that I'm going to need to turn off my lock again, and I'm going to make this one at 3.25 inches wide, 4.5 inches tall, and then just for eyeballing it, it's going to be around here. But then I'm going to double check it up here, and you can see that it's almost 2.5 inches here. So I'm going to put this at 2.5. And then this one is also almost at 2.5 inches at 2.5. So what that does is it moves the outer box 2 inches over and 2 inches down. And then this inner box is a 1/2 inch over and a 1/2 inch down so that I can cut it properly. I'm going to take these two, I'm going to group them together. I don't think I actually need to push group, but I can push group. But I want to slice these. So I'm going to go over to the slice tool down here at the bottom and hit slice. What that has done is it's taken my two shapes and it has made 3 shapes. So now I have an empty frame that will fit on the front of my card, and I have the actual box that we added, and then the cut of the inside of that box. Now I want to more properly show you welding. So welding is if you're going to take 2 shapes, and I'm going to group them together, and then I'm going to click weld, and you'll see that the line has removed itself because this is now 1 shape instead of 2 stacked shapes, and you can see that over here as well. And that same thing applies to if you want to build a title. So my favorite way to build a title is to go over here to this text tool, and then you can add text here. And in one of my other projects, I'm doing Hello Spring, so I'm going to do that again. Hello Spring. So you go up to, now before we had this row of tools, but when we opened this text box, a whole new set of tools showed up. So I don't want it to be Cricut Sans, and I have all of these fonts, and I believe they're any font that I had on my computer for Word. Seems to all be in here, plus a few Cricut ones, and I think you can tell by if they say download by them that they're probably Cricut ones that cost. So I usually like the cursive fonts. So I look through until I find a pretty cursive font. That looks like spring, doesn't it? So one of the cool things about this is, in addition to that, you can choose regular, bold, italic, writing. I haven't seen that before. Change your font size. I'm gonna make these go away so I can move my font up. So you can change your size by just dragging, same as always, or you can change your size at the font size. And usually this font size of 89 really isn't that helpful. And neither is this 2.185 because that's from the very tippy top of the top letter to the very tippy bottom of the other letter. So usually, like if I want my title, usually I want it to be about 2 inches tall. So I'll move this around here until top of my H is at, there you go. So now the top of my H is at the inch line and the bottom of my H is at an inch line. So this is about a 2-inch title. But it's really spread out and it isn't any fun to cut this all individual letters. But there's this letter space box. And so while it's all still grouped together, I'm going to press the down arrow and I'm going to squish these together as much as I can until it's no longer becoming reasonable because this E is going outside of the L. So after you get them close enough-ish, now I'm going to ungroup them. So now each of these letters is its own entity, but I prefer it when it is cut out as one group. So I'm going to move all of my letters so that they are attached, so they will cut as one image. So hello, I'm happy with how it is, so I'm going to group that, and it will be forever. Now when I want to move it, it will just move as a group, while these ones are still individual. But I'm going to take that S and I'm just going to move it over so it bumps into the P. And let's see. And move your letters so that they're all touching. And I'm happy with all of them except for this I and G. I mean, the I and the N. It produces this slice. So I'm going to group these as well. And then I'm going to weld them together so they're all one. Because you can see the hello. Hello is O-L-L-E-H. They're separate. But spring is just one. So hello needs to also be welded. And once it's welded, now it is in 2 images. I also don't like that one. So this is at 2.718. So I want to remember that because I don't like how this one is set up. So I want to fix that little hash here. And I also, there's a jut over here. I don't like it. So there is a percent. You can make your screen bigger. And that will give you a little bit more to work with. But now that I have welded this, it is not going to ungroup it for me. So I'm just going to be okay with the way that the P and the R are together. When it cuts in real life, it'll be fine. But I'm going to insert a shape. I'll insert a triangle. And this triangle is much too big. So I'm going to do a slicing, or at least I hope I'm going to do a slicing where I can take this and just kind of slice off that little barb. So I'm going to hit the Shift key, and so now those are both selected, and I'm going to hit the Slice tool, and you can see how it now has that little piece. So this is now made of my triangle, the piece of triangle that was needed, and then it's also taken this away. So now my spring does not have that little hash, and I can delete these pieces away. You can delete them here on the screen, or you can delete them over here. You can just eyeball them out so it doesn't cut, or you can delete it on the little trash can. So now I'm going to go back to my 100% and my Hello Spring, and now it is ready to cut. So that is how, a little bit better, how you can use the slice and the weld tools to make your projects. So thank you for watching my video, and happy cutting!